We're here to pursue justice with every ounce of it.
Requesting an independent investigation into the Greensboro Police Department.
It is written.
You know, I don't think the police can police itself.
And so the issue for us here is
On October 12, 2010, at Bethel AME Church in Greensboro, a delegation of 37 people who met with the U.S. Justice Department were the center of a report back to the community meeting. This meeting was attended by over 140 people, including a representative from the U.S. Justice Department, longtime community activists, students, city representatives from the Human Relations Department, commissioners, and concerned citizens. Although Chief Kenneth Miller and City Manager Rashad Young were invited, they declined to attend.
And so thus we are gathered here today after that meeting to give you, the community, a status on what transpired from that trip and that meeting, and to talk about some particular plans as we move forward. I'm going to call on, first of all, Louis Brandon to give us a historical context of where we have been and what we have come through.
When you look at Greensboro, there has been a pattern over the years. Black were taken into the police department in the mid-40s. And when they were hired, they had no power other than the power given to them to work in the black community. They couldn't arrest any white people. They were not really full officers in that department. And there has always been a problem with discrimination in that department. There was a lack of promotions. People weren't in supervisory positions. And affirmative action was a real issue. In the late 60s, there was a lawsuit filed by African American police officers. And some of those officers, because of the conditions, ended up resigning and just kind of leaving the area, going to other places to work. In '69, there was a takeover of the A&T campus by the police department and the National Guard. And Willie Ernest Grime, who was a student at A&T, was killed when the police officer shot into the campus. In 1970, shortly after that event, the Civil Rights Commission came in and did a report. And that report was called Trouble in Greensboro. And I want to read something from that report. One of the first recommendations, and this is in regards to the Greensboro Police Department. The City Council, in cooperation with the Chief of Police, should establish at the earliest possible date a police review board to investigate and act on all complaints filed by citizens of the community alleging police misconduct. 1979, of course, we know about the Greensboro massacre, where police absence when Nazis and Klan attacked a legitimate demonstration ended up in the killing of 5 people and the wounding of 10 others. And again, in 1980, the Civil Rights Commission came in and did a report called Black Perspective, White Perspective. And then in 1982, there was a lawsuit filed by 11 police officers who were unjustly fired, accused of dealing in, doing all kinds of things that they claimed that they did not do and were not participants in, and so they filed a lawsuit against the city. So you see, here we are at 2010, and 28 years since 1982, and we are still looking at issues in this police department.
All right, thank you so much.
Police officer.
Jamont Terry is live in downtown Greensboro with breaking details. Jamont?
Well, after 9 years with the department and many legal battles, the city of Greensboro fired Officer A.J. Blake late this
A.J. Blake is one of 3 minority officers who were all unjustly terminated within days of each other in early August. Each officer is tied to the EEOC lawsuit suing the city of Greensboro for discrimination. Reverend Brown lays out the termination and discrimination that these officers have faced for standing up against the subculture of corruption and double standards within the department.
Just talk about over the past 2 years, what has happened in Greensboro has been a continuation of what has been happening in Greensboro, but it seems to have intensified over the past 2 years. The good thing is that over the past 2 years, quite often we complained, but we didn't have data. We complained, but we did not have a paper trail. But now, somebody say, but now. I want you to know that these things are not just things we talk about. It is written. It is written that this young man was fired even after it was declared that he should not even be charged. He went to court. The young lady who accused him of assault testified in the trial she was intoxicated. It is written. When it was all said and done, he was quickly railroaded through court and found guilty. He appealed the case. He went before he went to the case, we went to the then chief, because everything ain't just in white. Some is in black and white. We went to the chief and appealed to him that he would just delay the termination process until after he had a day in court. It is written, he did not. Even when the citizens asked and pleaded, just wait, it went through process. It took about 40 days before the interim city manager declared that he had to receive his job back. He was given his job back, but he was never made a policeman again because he was not allowed to dress. He just stayed in the department until they found another reason to now, which they have done, fire him. Which is the same reason. Now, can you imagine this? To be fired based on the reason of truthfulness and malicious gossip, to which our city manager, because everything is not in white, it is written. Some things are in black and white. He did not come up with a reason to justify firing the young man. In fact, in his response, he said, though what you have said seems to be factual, he fired him anyway. It is written. When we look at a veteran of 23 years who was chief of staff under the service of Chief White, was fired after 23 years for malicious gossip and truthfulness. It is written. And then another young man, Officer Pryor, who was terminated today. Yeah, it is written for malicious gossip and truthfulness. If you say anything about the Greensboro Police Department, you will be fired. It is written. You have others who were to be fired. Officer Reyes, who was put back on his job with discipline for just being truthful, and now serves. The officer who collaborated his statement, once they found out a tape had leaked where the interim chief orchestrated how this process was to take place. And I heard somebody say, well, there was nothing on the tape that said that he was really trying to tell them to do anything dishonest. Let me tell you something. Anytime the interim chief tells you that there's no way we can follow the book because we don't have time to send out notification, that is a fact. You can't obliterate that. You know why? It is written. Because if they can do this to police officers, what can they do to us? The one good thing, Charles, and others that we can say tonight, is it's written. And if we stand together as a community, we will get justice.
Amen.